It's draft day. Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to this week's episode of Habs Hockey Report right here on All Habs Hockey Magazine's YouTube channel. We are part of Rocket Sports Media, and I am your host every week. My name is Amy Johnson. I am also the lead correspondent over at ahlreport.com, and boy, do we have a show for you today. It's exciting. It is draft day. It is finally here. All of the speculation, the debate, it's all going to get settled tonight. Well, some of it. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. If you're a new viewer to the channel, you've made it just in time. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We've got some great content coming for you this week, thanks to the draft, surrounding the draft, before and after the draft, and as we get into next week's free agency and all of the other off-season things that are going to be happening. So hit that subscribe button. We're glad to have you along. We're not going to waste any time. Let's get started with this week's show because this is a really big week for the Montreal Canadiens. Well, obviously, Habs Happenings is going to be a pretty popular segment on our show this week. If you watched last week's show, you will remember that I teased that we're going to have a special episode as well of Habs Hockey Report this week. So what I want to do right now is just break down for you what's going to happen here on the channel this week, as well as our Rocket Sports Media websites and social media accounts and so forth. As has been the case for the last 13 years, All Habs has been the place to go for draft information and draft coverage, as we have done for many, many, many years. We've partnered with the NHL once again, and we have members of our team as well as distinguished guests and ticket winners who are fans of the Montreal Canadiens, but also other hockey teams as well, at the Bell Center and in Montreal this weekend. So we're going to have, live look-ins on our social media accounts. You can find that, of course. Make sure you're following at All Habs on Twitter or Facebook. We'll have live look-ins from inside the Bell Center. Lots of great atmosphere, fun anecdotes, those types of things. See who people run into on the concourse and outside. In fact, our own Michael Spinella, who is the co-host of the Canadiens Connection podcast here at Rocket Sports Media, he was downtown yesterday walking outside the Bell Center. Who did he walk past? Logan Cooley, just strolling down the street. So we're going to have all of that excitement for you. Plus, bookmark allhabs.net, because each and every year, Habs fans want to know, how did the Montreal Canadiens do in the draft? Well, the best place to follow that for specific Montreal Canadiens updates is allhabs.net, and we will have there a live, up-to-the-minute, updated draft tracker specifically surrounding the Montreal Canadiens moves. So on the draft tracker, which will be updated as things happen throughout the draft, you'll see every selection of the first round, and then through rounds 2 through 7, just the Montreal Canadiens draft selections or any trades and moves they might happen to make as well. It's the best place to go on the internet if you're a Habs fan and want to just focus on what the Habs are doing in this all-important weekend. In addition to that, so you've got allhabs.net that you want to be following. You want to be following All Habs on Twitter and Facebook for live, up-to-the-minute, as we said, look-ins from the Bell Center, as well as information and stats on each draft pick as they happen. custom infographics, all of that type of thing. Really, we'll have you covered from soup to nuts, A to Z. And then here at Habs Hockey Report, we're going to keep this episode pretty concise today because let's face it, it's draft day. I mean, that's the big neon sign topic for the week. And as of right now, we don't know what's going to happen. So a special episode of Habs Hockey Report will come out Friday night after the draft. So again, if you don't have that notification bell selected or that subscribe button tapped, make sure you do that right now. It just takes a second, and then you'll get a notification when our special draft review episode drops on Friday night. And I'll be back with you to walk you through every single one of Montreal's selections throughout the draft or trades, because this is probably I think there's going to be some moving and shaking going on with the Montreal Canadiens this year. So as soon as the draft is finished, Habs Hockey Report will be right back here with you tomorrow, Friday night, walking you through everything the Montreal Canadiens did in the draft so that you have concise information on everything that your favorite team did in such a monumental draft year for the Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be very exciting. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to bring it to you. If you happen to be at the draft, and some of our viewers are, in fact, I'm going to post a photo right here of our dear friend Randy, who has been one of our ticket winners, who has attended the draft with the Rocket Sports Media crew for a number of years now with his family. He is there already in Montreal, ready to go. And he even remembered to use the hashtag #ShowYourHabs, letting Rick Stevens and myself at Flyers Rule at All Habs, letting us know he's there, he's ready to go, and he can't wait to join our group for the draft tonight. So thank you, Randy, for your photo. We're so glad that you and your family are back as ticket winners with us again this year. And this is just a call to all of you. If you are at the draft, be sure to post your photos on Twitter or Facebook, but use that hashtag #ShowYourHabs, and we'll put everybody's photos up here on the show, a good selection of them, to just allow those of you who can attend the draft to capture some of the excitement of being in Montreal for this historic moment in Montreal Canadiens history. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait to bring it to you. As we said, who knows what's going to, we know that the debate over who's going to be taken first overall will finally be settled tonight. It'll either be likely Shane Wright, Uri Slafkovsky, or perhaps even Logan Cooley. But that doesn't mean the debates will end. I guarantee then after that, the debate then will begin of whether or not whoever it is that's selected was the right pick. And, that's just fun debate. And we can't wait to get into that. We can't wait to talk to you about it and hear what you have to say. In fact, we are also, for this episode, we're going to forego a feedback forum question for this episode because we're going to wait until the draft review special episode on Friday night to drop a feedback forum question for you. So leave us a comment if you're at the draft or you're just excited, if you have something that you want to say, and then get ready to give us all of your feedback on how the Canadiens do on Friday's special episode. Our Rocket Booster segment this week is going to be short and sweet. There's not a whole lot of news coming out of Laval, but two things that we did want to mention this week. One, another signing for the Laval Rocket this week. This time it's an actual Habs prospect, which we're always happy to see prospects getting contracts and getting set up to play at the AHL level. This time it's a 1-year, one-way AHL contract for Xavier Simoneau. He's a slight forward, is about 5'7", small guy who's played for the last 4 years, 5 years in the QMJHL. He played for Drummondville for 4 years. He had some leadership roles as a captain there. And then this past year, he played for Charlottetown. As you know, Charlottetown went pretty far in the playoffs this year. They were actually ousted in the semifinals by the Hamilton Bulldogs, and Xavier Simoneau put up some pretty tremendous numbers, both in the regular season and in the playoffs this year. So very exciting to see a Habs prospect. He was selected last year in the 2021 draft by the Montreal Canadiens in the 6th round. So likely not going to see him in an NHL lineup anytime in the immediate future, but should be a good, solid forward prospect to see take the ice for the Laval Rocket this fall. The other bit of news is we talked in a previous episode about the fact that former assistant equipment manager Francis St. Pierre, who was the AHL affiliates, the Laval Rocket, Hamilton Bulldogs, St. John's Ice Caps assistant equipment manager, had been hired by the Canadiens as an assistant equipment manager at the NHL level. And as such, we've also seen now some movement in the AHL level. Longtime head equipment manager Eric Levesque is reportedly now leaving the organization. No reason given as to his departure. The team has just wished him well as he takes on some new challenges. So he seems to be moving on, and his assistant equipment manager will be getting a promotion to the head equipment manager. So we wish, our team has had, our Rocket sports team has had a lot of interaction over the years with Eric Levesque as the head equipment manager. He does a tremendous job. And so we know that he's going to be successful at whatever he does. We'll miss him for sure. And we wish him the best of luck as well. Last but not least, we can't forget about the Habs Fan Hub and bring you some fan interaction for this week. As I said at the top of the show, if you are attending the draft or are just in Montreal, checking out the festivities even outside the arena or around town at all this week, be sure to post your photos to Twitter or Facebook. Use the hashtag #ShowYourHabs. We'll be glad to share them on next week's show or on the special edition of the show on Friday night. We do want to get some responses to some things we discussed in last week's show. First and foremost, we had a feedback forum question last week that was asking you if you had your day with the Stanley Cup, what would you do? What would be your dream day with the Stanley Cup? And our dear friend Dino did write in and say, Stanley Cup for the day, go back in time and take it to Dad's barber shop. Dad and his team of barbers would be so happy. Horace Lafleur, Claude Lafleur, and Wayne Dangerfield. Then I would take it to Thurso, Quebec, and visit Madame Pierrette Lafleur and family. So that's a pretty tremendous idea for your day with the Stanley Cup. Thanks so much, Dino. We also talked last week about the fact that Luke Richardson had been hired by the Chicago Blackhawks and that there is now an open assistant coaching position behind the Habs bench. We had some interesting comments about that. We have Matt here who says, "Wah," as assistant with quite a little silly face there. It's certainly that would have been a polarizing choice, but we do see that Patrick Waugh actually has re-upped back in the QMJHL, so he will not be available to fill that empty position as an assistant coach for Martin St. Louis. But certainly a fun comment there. We also have a comment from Dave saying, finding someone to fill the shoes of Luke Richardson will be a difficult one. I have to agree with you there. Luke Richardson was a tremendous coach and very respected by his players. He goes on to say, I hope Gorton Hughes St. Louis find an experienced D-man coach that fits into their system. I agree there as well. We talked about that last week, that experience is going to be key for this position. It will be fascinating to see if that is a focus. We've heard in almost every NHL head coaching hire that's happened over the course of this summer, the GMs who then meet with the press after those head coaching announcements are made, almost every single one of them has said experience was the big key for us. And so will the Canadiens make a big priority of having experience to fill Luke Richardson's shoes? I certainly hope they do. It's what they need to do, but we'll have to wait to see how that goes. Dave continues and says, as for the draft, ignoring all the crazy rumors out there, my opinion, Montreal selects at number 1 center Shane Wright. Fans do need to realize he's no McDavid. He thinks Montreal will try very hard to make a splash to excite fans attending and watching as they are drafting at the Bell Center. Whether it's a major trade or in the first round. And he says his out-of-the-box prediction, if Montreal doesn't select Wright, they'll select Logan Cooley. So very interesting. Lots of great speculation. That's the fun thing about the draft, is kind of brainstorming all of the different scenarios that could happen. And then we just all sit back and wait and see if Montreal's going to prove us all right or prove us all wrong. And we'll be here on Friday night with a special episode of Habs Hockey Report to break it all down for you and walk you through every move that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton and the Montreal Canadiens make on this momentous 2022 NHL Entry Draft week. If you did miss last week's show, check it out right here, and we'll see you back here Friday night to talk about the draft.